Princeton Flying School, the airport owns, it's either 7 or 8 planes right now. I'm not sure what the exact number is. And they vary in cost per hour. So that's an important consideration if your budget is limited, obviously. At the low end is a 172 Cessna 172P model, which is older than the other airplanes. It looks old from the outside and the inside. It's got a carbureted engine, but it's perfectly adequate for learning how to fly. Because flying, you know, the first steps you take to learn to fly are really the brain-muscle connections about the basic maneuvers, and that can be done in almost any plane. Another step up with better avionics, better electronics, a little more horsepower and get up and go are the R&S Model Cessna 172, and we have several of those here. And they're just better, newer AR planes with GPSs, with moving maps, and so in some sense they're easier for cross-country flight. But every plane is adequate for cross-country flight. At the top of the food chain is a Diamond. Hello. See, we have pilots coming all the time. Coming, you know, it's good. At the top of the list here is a Diamond DA40, which is a low-wing airplane with a stick instead of a yoke. So instead of grabbing the yoke with both hands and controlling the airplane that way, just have one hand lightly on the stick and you just nudge it back and forth, sort of like a fighter pilot. It's like driving a sports car compared to the 172s. It doesn't really go any faster or higher, but it's a lot of fun. And it has a modern glass cockpit. It's got computer screens instead of the round dials. And the glass cockpit is fabulous. Shows you the weather and the traffic and exactly what your speed is and all that stuff. The round dials work fine. Don't get me wrong on that. But this is modern avionics in the Diamond. And that costs more per hour. So often people look at the prices, which are listed on the board downstairs, and they say, well, my price range is this, and that sometimes determines the plane that they fly. But all of them are perfectly adequate to learn how to fly and become a private pilot. So it's a matter of personal preference. Some people say, I want to go for the best, and they fly the Diamond exclusively. Other people say, I got to watch my pennies, and they fly the cheaper airplane. The instructor, it's all the same to the instructors. They fly all these planes all the time, and they can teach a person to fly in any of the airplanes that Princeton Flying School has. And they're maintained. This is something that people worry about. The maintenance on these airplanes, because you walk up to an airplane, it looks sort of old, but the inside of the airplane, I mean the moving parts and the engines are very carefully maintained. Every 100 hours. They do an inspection. They put it in the shop, they tear it down, they change the oil, they replace whatever has to be replaced. Any squawks or problems with the plane are resolved at that time. They're very, very careful about maintaining the engines in particular and the necessary control systems. The cosmetics, not so much. But you know, if you could have my favorite car, the Ford Mustang from 1967. You could still keep one of those on the road if you maintained it in a pristine fashion. If you spent the time and energy and money necessary to maintain an old car, you could do it. We don't tend to do that now. We keep cars for shorter time. But these planes are very well maintained. And the safety record of the flight school bears that out. So that's excellent.